What a banger. Such a good song. Okay, what's up? How are you doing? This one is also pretty good, actually. Look at me being in full Koens gear today. Gotta wear the cap sometimes, you know. I'll turn it around again. Power bank.
I don't know what you
okay.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall.
So what?
My love.
Okay. What's up, everyone? Good to have you here on a Saturday. It's been a great morning in the Netherlands, even though it's been raining. 16 degrees, cloudy. Started actually raining when we went for a 10K run. We, as my wife and I, this morning, as I'm training her. I do got to do a bit more leg training for my right knee. After the obstacle run I did last year, like the 100K, or not 100K, 42K, 100 plus obstacle run, I definitely went a bit far, I think, for my right knee. So I gotta up the strength. I'm working on it. What's up, everyone? How are you doing? Bettina, Adam, you're here. The song always hypes me up. That's the intro song. I've actually been looking a little bit in the Jim Joseph playlist, which is the artist of the song. So see what other stuff he has. Numan Khan, welcome. Tim Johnston, proper gasses me up every time. Yeah, it's a nice one. Was about to catch this wave 5. There is potential here, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Preferably in an impulsive structure. 1, 2, 1, 2, right? 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, finish, start ranging the rest of the weekend, then grab the highs again. We're going to cover that, of course. We might then potentially move all the way up to the target box 71K, but we're gonna wait and see there. So, yeah, Mido, welcome. Rostam, how you doing? Numan Khan, add me, please. In my point of view, in recent market of Bitcoin will complete wave B after Bitcoin will get down to hit stops of those who expected Bitcoin break the wedge pattern and will go up. I guess you're talking about the flat on the daily time frame. We're gonna cover that. Yeah, I'm back to being a regular now. What's up, Peace Touch Show? Yeah, sorry for what happened in Discord the other day, but it's good to see you here, man. Good to see you here. So good to have you as well. Many people will know Peace Touch Show, and if you haven't, he is a great counter himself and also trades. Elliott Waves. C'est moi. Goedemorgen, monsieur. Okay, what's up? How you doing? QZ World, Diana, Alex, Coffeeola, Crypto Aman, Holo Crypto. Always with the English thanks and then the German bitte in the comment section. Samuel Lopez, good to have you. Maybe a Band-Aid. What's up? How you doing? Morning, Rob. Okay, so what we're gonna do in this live stream is, first of all, I gotta say, in 55 minutes, there is Formula 1 quali in Monaco. Now, you might not care about Formula 1, but one of the highlights of the year is quali in Monaco. So you bet that at 4, at least Central European time, which is in 55 minutes, I'm in front of the screen watching Formula 1 with my wife. So, in other words, we got 50 minutes. Setting an alarm to remind you to go watch it is actually a good one. Wait, I'm pretty sure my wife will remind me as well. I'm going to set an alarm as well. Okay, fine. Okay, there we go. Oops, 51 minutes. Ooh, what a weekend. Oh, God. And that is the area where we're going to move to in 2 months. In 2 months, I'm going to live in the area of the south of France, Monaco region. So, yeah, pretty excited, actually. Sold the house. Still got to sign the contract. But we're going to do that next week. The buyer, it's a, how do you call it? A verbal confirmation. So, Ekaterina Eddy, welcome. Good to have you here. Snagging some coffee real quick. RQ. Oh, perfectly fine. Couldn't you see a way for the start of an impulse starting on the 10th of May? Oh, I got to go back in time. Instead of the absolute bottom. I mean, the 10th of May would be your second leg. Yeah, so I would always count an impulse from here instead of from here. Because the main question is, how do you then end a corrective structure here, right? You have an impulsive structure to the upside, arguably could be a wave X in a running flat, and this needs to be your wave Y. So that would be, I see what you mean. That, yeah, it's not a high probability, but what you're looking for, I'm just answering the question before we get into the analysis, right? Is you have this as a W, this as an X, and this is your Y. That's pretty much, so you have a regular flat in W, then X and Y, but look how short Y is. And X is a running flat because you have a 3-wave A, 3-wave B, 5-wave C, and your X, C not taking the high of A, running flat. You have a zigzag in a wave Y after a flat in a W, which is perfectly fine. However, time-wise, it doesn't really match up nicely, as you can see, right? That wave Y is incredibly short, shorter than the 3A2, which is not really common. So besides a running flat. So the fact you have a running flat plus a very short wave Y lowers the probabilities, but it's a nice idea. Yeah, it's a nice idea. It's all probabilities in the end, I suppose. No? Long confirmed, or are we going down? So I'm still in my long from 6,700. Wait, 67,000. Geez, 320. Holy moly! Stop loss is managed, and riding the waves. Thanks, Dunk. Exactly. Bones, welcome. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. I was thinking about maybe doing your the signature on your shirt live on stream. Setting an alarm to, yeah, cheers, maybe a Band-Aid. FA Cup Final 2, Max Verstappen, Ferrari. I would, honestly, so I would really like it if Leclerc actually wins the Grand Prix. I know I'm Dutch, but Max has been owning pretty much everything. And I like competition, I like underdogs, I like tension, I like good racing. And Leclerc has tried for so often. He never won any race in any category in Monaco. So I mean, you know, it would be nice if he can make it happen. What's up, Charbel? How you doing? Good morning, everyone. Hope you have a great weekend. I hope you have one too. Milo, what's up? Holy moly. Mark, I'll just call you Mark. What's up? Okay, let's start. BTC Toss Afshin, welcome. How can we learn about Elliott Waves? I actually think I got a comment in one of the videos as well. Bina, what's up? John, how you doing? Quick answering that question. If you want to learn Elliott Waves, open a description, scroll down to Elliott Wave Education. There you find a book, which is Elliott Wave Principle from Frost and Prechter. That's, I think, the third link. The second link is a website that will guide you to this page, completely free. I'm not affiliated whatsoever. This is just a public page about Elliott Waves. I very much recommend you to learn everything on this page out of your head, right? If you do, you're going to be very good. And then it's just about small little things, because 95% of what's on this page is correct, is good. You see about targets, what's common, what's less common. It's a very good website. So that's where I would start. And then we always have gold as well. So the membership. Okay. Short little update on the resistance, by the way. So previous range levels, the red lines are 2 point of controls, and the value area high, value area low. Right, so that's currently where we are. We have a little bit of bullish CVD divergences at the low. I checked this before the stream. So here, higher low in price, lower low on the CVD on the 3 minute, while retesting the support or resistance into support. Interesting. This is a scam wick, so don't look at it. I don't know why. So it is happening on Coinbase a couple of times now. It's a little annoying. So I've been thinking about maybe counting on index. However, I don't really like the low time frame on index because the candles are not really nicely aligned, like always on the very low time frames. So yeah, I just ignore that wick pretty much. That's what I'm saying, I suppose. Okay. That being said, let's go over the analysis now. So welcome everyone, and yeah, the website is really good. Hiop, what's up? How you doing? Oh, by the way, I don't know if Jeroen is here, but I'd like to congratulate Jeroen. He is a diamond member. Let me go to the lounge here, and he has passed phase 1 of a funded challenge. Very, very nice. Congratulations. Awesome that he managed to do that. Let me actually press the buttons here. Yeah, congrats to Jeroen. No idea if he's actually here, but very nice. He still, of course, has to continue with phase 2, but step by step, focusing on the best trades in the last month. Not the most amount of trades, not trying to trade every move, being patient, wait for your setup, take the setup, have a plan, follow the plan. Love to see it. Love to see it. Okay, let's go. We're going to cover Elliott Wave starting on the daily. I'm going to start with the bearish scenarios, end with the bullish one, and of course the local price action as well, where we are at the moment and what we have to pay attention to. The bearish scenario is an ABC where potentially sees in. Bullish scenario is continuation to the upside. We'll cover that in more detail towards the end of the analysis as we zoom into the lower time frames. Let me check the time. How long are we live for now? 16 minutes. Ah, yeah, John, BTC USDT Binance. Yeah, I see. Also an option. Okay. 1640. Daily time frames, covering the bear scenarios first, then the bullish one, right? Very much depends on local price action. But with regards to the bear scenario in the daily time frame, WXY, sideways, a double combo, 3-wave structure, corrective, after which we expect continuation. Here we have a regular flat in a W, expanding flat in a wave X. It's not a great wave X expanding flat because you have an A, B, C, and even though your wave is C, here's a little tip, take a fib time from the start of A to the end of B, right? Toggle on the 2, which significantly lowers probabilities if a wave C ends after the 2, which is not the case. However, you do have to count 5 waves in here if we want to finish wave C of wave X in an A, B, C flat. And that's a bit of an issue because most commonly a wave 4 is longer than a wave 2. And here we can see on the daily a very nice 1, 2, and this has to be your 4. There's literally no other option really. But you can see this 4 is a lot smaller than your 2. Most commonly 2 is shorter than 4 and 4 is longer. So that is not ideal. And besides, if we take a fib from the low to the high, this wave 4 is also very shallow. I can show it on the lower time frames, but we didn't even hit the 236 basically. So it's not great probabilities for this scenario, but it is a scenario we at least keep in the back of our minds, right? And then in wave Y, we're looking for a flat based on the local structures. An impulse to the downside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has low probabilities. In that case, we prefer to look for 3-wave structures to the downside at the moment, which means in a wave Y, there's only 2 scenarios left. A flat, A, B, C, take the highs, all-time high, move down in C, that would be hilarious, or a triangle, but that is way too early to call, and a triangle is an uncommon structure in a wave Y. Target for your wave Y is on the chart, 618, 1.236, 63.2, 54.3K, 1.618 is an extension target. That's uncommon, right? Preferably your Y ends after the 382 as well, 4th of June, fib times taken from the start to the end of W to the end of your wave X. In that case, just to show you on the 1 hour, by the way, in your wave C of X, this is your wave C, right? You then have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look how short 4 is. Right? It's not impossible for a wave 4 to be shorter, but if you take a fib time from the start to the end of 2 to the end of 3, toggle on the 382, at least it happened, or at least it ended after the 382, which would be like a minimum requirement for a wave 4 time-wise, even though commonly a wave 4 most commonly ends after the 1-to-1, which clearly didn't happen, right? Second, if we take a fib from the low of 2 to the high of 3, you can also see that wave 4 did not even hit the 0.236. Your common wave 4 target is this. Anything above is rare for a wave 4. Impacts probabilities of the WXY, no? In other words, increases a bit of probabilities for bullish scenarios. Okay, so on a lower time frame, if we are looking for that flat in potentially your wave Y, right, we have a WXY here on the lower time frames, ABC, corrective structure, ABC, Y finished, has to be a wave A, look for a B, and eventually a wave C. B has to be a three-wave structure, commonly a zigzag, double zigzag, by far most commonly a zigzag structure, right? A zigzag family pattern, simple zigzag is most common, where we then have a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, corrective move, and then another leg to the upside, finish B, down in C in a flat. In a flat, wave B has to retrace at least to the 0.9 taken from the start to the end of A. So that is a minimum target for your flat. A little problem I do have here is time. So this is the 0.382 on the 3rd/4th of June for your wave Y, if you're looking for a Y. And if we aim for a flat structure, which is a three-wave move, your wave A ended very quickly. It's a very short wave A, because wave C preferably ends after the 382. Wave C in an expanding flat is most commonly your shortest wave structure, as it tends to be very quick and impulsive, and these, wave A and B, are corrective structures. So naturally, they take a bit more time. Because wave A is relatively short, wave B preferably takes longer than your wave A, where you have an A, B, especially your B has to be long, and then a C to the upside, and then get your sharp wave C. So if we climb too quickly, probabilities go down for the higher time frame WXY once again, and also go down for the flat here. Time is important. The second scenario, also bearish, that I like to show you and talk about, is a zigzag ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leading diagonal in wave A. The leading diagonal is not an ideal diagonal, because your wave 3 is longer than your wave 1. If you take a fib time from the start of 1, right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Take a trend-based fib from the start to the end of 1 to the end of 2, comparing 1 with 3 in length, in price. Your wave 3 is actually a little bit longer than your 1. It's not an invalidation in a diagonal, but it is not preferred and impacts the probabilities negatively. Now, in this wave B, we then look for a three-wave structure to the upside in an A, B, C. Touching the 886 is still a target for a wave B. What I always love to see, and I talk about it quite often on streams and videos, is after an 886 touch, move to the golden pocket. Always an important area, support resistance area, after an 886 is touched. And it's actually quite common for price to move to the golden pocket after an 886 is touched. Of course, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen often, and you will know that if you've been following the content, we've been talking about it quite often. And this is, again, one of these cases where price touches the 886 and moves down to the golden pocket, where we can observe the reaction. Now, in this scenario, though, you want to see a wave C to the downside, which should be an impulse going below wave A. Which means on the lower time frames, you want to count impulsive structures to the downside. And that is a little bit of a thing now, right? Because there's only 3 structures on the lower time frame that you can think of that are bearish. Either an impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Double 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, big 3 to the downside, or even a triple 1, 2. Lastly, a diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you get a retracement and continuation. Now let's observe. If we want to count this an impulse, 1 second, I have a picture because we were chatting about it with John in the morning, and John is also here. Oh, there we go. So let me open his chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have your wave 5, right? If you want to count some sort of an impulse to the downside here, this would be the only way. The problem is wave 2 is 11 times longer than your wave 1, which is rare, right? Your wave 5 is the extended wave, which is also rare. Wave 5 has a very short wave 4, which did not hit the 382 of your wave 2, which is also rare. So you kind of see where we're going, right? It doesn't really have the greatest probabilities. I'm not even sure if wave 4 hit the 618 as well, from the high of 2 to the low of 3, which would also, again, be very, well, it's kind of an invalidation. So we've been chatting about this and basically came to that conclusion that a singular impulsive structure to the downside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is low probabilities, which means you have a 1, 2, double 1, 2, or a diagonal. We're going to talk about probabilities at the end, by the way, so that everything is summed up. A double 1, 2 would be 1, 2, 1, 2, continuation down. Invalidation is the high here at 70.6K. Now, your second wave 1 in that case, if this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, your second wave 1 is longer in price than your first wave 1. You can see the 1-to-1 trend-based fib taken from this high to the low to this high. We touched it, we passed it, lowers the probabilities for a double 1, 2. Second, if we want to count this a 1, 2, and then, 1, 2, 1, 2, it means this has to be an impulse, this here, and this has to be an impulse. Which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where is your wave 4, right? It is significantly shorter than your wave 2, shorter than the 3A2, lowest probabilities for an impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's your wave 4 once again? Same thing. Lowers the probabilities for a double 1, 2. And then finally, you have a diagonal. And in a diagonal, you can start a new structure, a leading diagonal. You can start it by having a 5, 3, 5, 3, 5. Zigzags in 2 and 4 are a must, zigzag family structure. Or all the waves are 3-wave structures. So 3-wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Now in this particular case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that would be a diagonal, you're now looking at an expanding diagonal, which is very rare, never preferred unless all of the other stuff fails. In other words, low probabilities. Meaning that pretty much your only bearish impulsive scenario would be a, so far, very low probability, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diagonal. But wave 2 is not even finished. And I only like to start looking for diagonals after a wave 4 is finished. Up till that moment, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to look for diagonals because there are so many other scenarios that are going to have a higher probability than a diagonal that didn't even finish its wave 2. So at the moment, from a probability perspective, the probabilities are a lot higher that this is a corrective structure, and this is corrective price action, right? Compared to impulsive price action, which has an effect on the daily time frame. In other words, the probabilities for an ABC at the moment, with this being high, are low. Now that's interesting because the probabilities for your ABC here are low based on local market structure, because having an impulsive move to the downside at the moment has a low probability, right? But also your WXY has a low probability because your wave 4 in ABC, in your wave C here, is shorter than 2 and didn't hit the 236. So that's not great, right? It's not that great. It increases probabilities for bullish scenarios, no? Okay. Am I going to cover this on the 1 hour? I'm going to wait and put that. I'm going to talk about that one in a little bit. Okay. So, bullish scenario. This is at the moment the one that fits the best, though. So we're going to talk about the other options as well. I don't have them in my folders, but I have them in my head, so I can as well just share what's in there. Your bullish scenario here is an 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a wave 5. In this case, this ranging structure is still a wave 4, but it's a wave 4 of a lower degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside your green wave 3. Now your wave 4 matches your wave 2, both in time but also in price, as it hit the 0.236 taken from the low to the high, which is a minimum, usually minimum target for 4, which is nice to see. So here we then look for a wave 4. Common target for 4, 382 to the 05, also the 236, but we've already been through that 236, so I only have these two on my chart. 67.5, 66k taken from the low to the high of 3. Preferably in your wave 4 though, this is the low. I don't care if you continue ranging. But in a bullish scenario, this has to be kind of like your low. Like if you wick this, there's no support below. We touched the box, the target box here, right? We touched all the support in this box. The daily naked point of control as well as the daily was touched here, respected very nicely. There's nothing left. Yeah, you have a few lows here, but then you have the invalidation. You don't want wave 4 to hit that invalidation. Because it invalidates the whole impulse to the upside. You don't want overlap between a 1 and a 4. Interestingly, however, if this would be the end of your corrective structure, it ends before the 1-to-1. And commonly, your wave 4 is longer than wave 2. The fib time on the chart here is taken from the start to the end of 2 to the end of 3, comparing 2 with 4. So preferably you actually end the corrective structure after your 1-to-1. But at the same time, preferably the low of your 4 is finished. So again, don't really care about continuing this range for a while here, but you don't really want to see another low. The minimum for a wave 4 would be the 382, which has been respected. We pretty much made the low on the 618. So it's still before the 1-to-1, but you know, at least it's longer than the 382 compared to 2. So of course there is potential that this here is your low of 4 and you move up for wave 5, which then means on the low time frame you want to count impulsive structures. In that case, we are still looking for higher prices. An impulse based on the local count is not yet finished. So here we then have our wave 1 and wave 2 has to be said, right? Your wave 2 is incredibly long, 11 times longer than your wave 1, which is very uncommon. So that is something we keep in mind. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. This has to be part of your wave 5, where in that case preferably you have a 1, 2, 3, 4 and another move up in 5, because this range here for a 2 would work best with a 4 here. Let me quickly take a fib just to see what the measurement is here. I think so we're bouncing on the 05. We didn't hit the 618, which would be an invalidation for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you hit the 618, which is sitting at 60, well, pretty much 69k, at 68,980 on my chart here, that would reduce probabilities for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In that case, we would then need to move 5 to this high. But at the moment, I don't prefer this, because this range for an impulse, 1, 2, 3, this is not really a 4. It's all very short in time and like 2 candles. This is longer. So I prefer to have a wave 4 here and then get another 5 to the upside. So that's something I'm keeping an eye on. Then finish the blue 3, get a bigger range in a 4, which is your blue 4, and then one more push to the upside in 5. And if we then keep an eye on the levels, it would be quite interesting for 5 to finish at 71k, take the liquidity here, hit the daily naked point of control. This wave 5 could enter the value area high. Then you continue ranging inside the volume levels of the previous range. We have spent some time in here, so we might as well just continue. So if we can get back inside the range again, yeah, back inside the range, bloop, bloop, value area low, support, move to the upside, finish your 5, range down for your 4, and then move out of the range for your 5, probably next week. And then by end next week or mid next week, create a high and then retrace. After a 5-wave move to the upside, you get a bigger retracement. So that in the bullish scenario is something that I keep an eye on at the moment. Right. Invalidation for now is still the high of this wave 1 here. 65 or 67.5k. Okay. Yeah, this one. Before I talk about this, I go back to the 4 hour. So that is pretty much the core content. Now I go into possibilities, which is also a little bit of live analysis, because now we count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As mentioned, if we do take this low at the moment, right, it's so far we just move up here, so we're not yet thinking about it. But if it does happen, the bullish scenario, this one would be invalidated. Of course, there's two other options as always, right? You have an impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a double 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 to the upside, most bullish, and a diagonal. So let's shortly cover these as well. In a double 1, 2, and I'm actually going to put it on the chart so it's easier to follow. So we have the first 1, 2, and then a second 1, 2. Most bullish, not the highest probability. We take a trend-based fib from the low to the high of green 1 to the low of 2. And I don't really use the add text thing. It's a nice little gimmick, but what you can see is your blue one is longer in price and time. 1 second. Take a fib time from the start to the end of 1 to the end of 2. Toggle on the 1 to 1. This move up is longer in price past the 1 to 1 and time past the 1 to 1 fib time compared to your first wave 1, which lowers the probabilities for a double wave 1, double 1, 2. Not great. In other words, the normal impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has a higher probability. And then we have a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Preferably you have overlap with wave 1 in a diagonal. So price preferably moves down to the key area minimum. And then we can take a channel from the high. Wait, let me put this on the chart. Got to be accurate here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So preferably wave 4 ends below the line. We then take a channel from the high of 1 to the high of 3. And this is just a trick, right? You don't need to check for diagonals with the channel, but it's just a trick that I like to use. So from the high of 1 to the high of 3 to the low of 2. The moment price touches the lower trend line, you have to talk about an expanding diagonal. And an expanding diagonal is very rare, never preferred unless all of the other stuff fails. However, if you want wave 4 to overlap with wave 1, it needs to take the key line. But as you can see, we are going to end up below the trend line. So a diagonal, as a bullish scenario, has low probabilities as well, which pretty much means your by far preferred bullish scenario is a 1, 2, 3, sideways 4, and a wave 5. And I don't care if wave 4 is finished here or we continue ranging for a bit, right? I mean, that's quite likely if you finish a potential 1 here, go down for 2, and then up, right? This is next week, and then 2 weeks, you continue. Now, that's interesting, right? It's currently the best probability bullish scenario that you have. The only alternative, which is, I forgot what was the question just now during the live stream. Let me actually quickly have a look here. Who was that person? Samuel. So the only alternative bullish scenario, which is very much an alternative, is you end the correction here. Again, it's an alternative, so this low. Now, how do you end the correction there? Looks a bit ugly, right? Covered this at the very beginning. That's the only way. Now, there's a few things going on here. Quickly managing. There. Okay, you probably, if you do Elliott Waves, know quite quickly why this also has low probabilities. Your W is very big, regular flat, absolutely possible. A, B, C, done, finished, W is in, right? Now your wave X here is a running flat. A, B, C. 3-wave structure in A, 3-wave in a B, and a 5-wave move up in wave C. Wave C did not take the high of A. Very low probabilities because a running flat is the lowest probability flat. Most common is an expanding flat, which would be A, B, C. We didn't get it. Then you have a regular flat, A, B, usually a lower or a higher B compared to what we have here. And then a wave C, just taking the high of A, like it's more of a ranging structure. we didn't get that. And then we have the running flat, most rare. So that impacts probabilities. And then you have a zigzag in a wave Y. That's possible. You can have a flat in W, X can be a running flat, Y can be a zigzag, running flat in X is rare. Zigzag in Y is very short in time. Look at your W, look at your Y. Now, Elliott Waves is also very much about time. It's not just price, it's also time. And that is why in the book of Frost and Prechter, Elliott Wave Principle, right, the main Elliott Wave Bible, as people like to call it, they talk a lot about time and ratio analysis. Now, this wave Y, you can just look at the chart and be like, is this nice? We are basically comparing this structure with this. Now, these two boxes have to be the same degree. How does it look? You kind of get the point, right? Your wave Y is so short that from a ratio perspective, time perspective, it's incredibly unlikely your Y is finishing here to make this the start of an impulse at the moment. So that's not great. Lowers the probabilities. This wave Y ended before the 382, far before the 382, taken from the start to the end of W. However, if you do take this low, the probabilities are going towards, you need to think of other bullish structures. So either the diagonal, the double 1, 2, or this. So we, by that time, then have to make a choice. But at the moment, it's not relevant. So I don't really like to think about it just yet. Okay. Bearish scenario locally. We now touch the 618. So that decreases the probabilities for a 5 waver here. Might increase the probabilities for this to be a 3 wave structure, A, B, C, which can lead to a 3, 3, 5. We'll have to observe as a potential flat. We're going to talk about probabilities in a second. So ABC to the upside, very long B is more common than a very long wave 2. The same happened here. Very long range compared to your first move down. Increases probabilities, this is a B or an X, compared to this being a wave 2. Same is true at the low. It's a very long wave 2, 11 times longer than your wave 1, right? Which does have an impact on probabilities, making it higher for a B or an X. Now, when we talk then about impulsive structures, we have a wave A, B, impulse in C, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then eventually we look for a wave 5. Now, time-wise, this 3-wave structure preferably is not part of your wide 4, because your 4 in wide is going to be so incredibly long compared to your wave 2. I mean, it's like, what, 20 times longer? Doesn't make a lot of sense, no? So that's why preferably that is your 4, and then you look for a 5. Now, because we move down here and we have a 1, 2, 3-wave structure, right, by the looks of it, because we never got a range that is the same amount of time compared to what we had here, increases probabilities for a 3-waver instead of a 5-waver. But if we are looking for an ABC up, then preferably that's the end of your 5 now. The fact, however, that we didn't get a impulse but a 3-waver does increase probabilities for a potential impulse, has to be said. Let me quickly have a look here. So, same thing. Preferably this wave 4 is not moving to the right because of time. So if we do get a bigger correction, then you're gonna do this. Either you finish 3 here, and you look for a 4. Or you finish 3 here and you look for a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this has to be a 5. Not a big fan of the 5 here because of this range, explained in the morning update, the previous update. But that would be your bullish scenario. So if we then want to look for an invalidation of this scenario, it's pretty much the same level. Wait. That would be your invalidation for this particular impulse. 68.2K. So in other words, preferably you're staying above this level here. If you hit 68.2, 68.3K here, it decreases probabilities for an impulse because preferably your 5 here is not yet finished. So this is your alternative bullish scenario. Either then put 3 here or put 3 here. In both cases, you don't want overlap between your 1 and your 4. If you do, it increases probabilities for a 3-wave structure instead of a 5-wave structure, which increases probabilities to either continue this range sideways for a longer period of time, because we have a corrective move down, corrective move up. You can expect further correction sideways or go down. So increases probabilities to go sideways or move down if you do hit that invalidation at 68.2K. As long as you don't hit it, well, we can still look towards the upside. Literally had bearish CVD divergences as well before the drop here, just to show. The green candles are important, right? Also working as an order block. Yeah, lower high, higher high on blue. Check above the webcam. Yellow, no bearish divergence. It was blue only. That's played out now though. So, with regards to the probabilities, on the daily time frame, currently the probabilities are higher for bullish scenarios locally, where at the moment the highest probability bullish scenario is a 4-wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave structure, right, where you're working on a wave 4, a range. Reason is that in a WXY, your X has a very short wave 4 in a expanding flat ABC. C has to be a 5-waver. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 is incredibly short compared to 2, and did it hit the common target area for wave 4? Lowest probabilities for the WXY. In an ABC, we're looking for impulsive structures down, but as explained, at the moment from the high, probabilities are low, you have an impulsive structure. The only one that's left would be a bigger diagonal, but you're only working at a wave 2 at the moment, so it's very hypothetical. Don't really like to think about it unless wave 4 is finished, which is not the case because we're working on a wave 2. Therefore, the probabilities are higher for the bullish scenarios, where currently your highest probability bullish scenario is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As long as invalidation is not hit. Preferably, in this wave 4 though, you continue ranging for a bit longer, as commonly a wave 4 ends after the 1 to 1 fib time, which is not the case if this is the low, but it is most common. So we have to keep in mind that even if we do get a corrective structure to the upside locally in an ABC structure, I'm gonna go to the lower time frame in a second. Preferably, you still have this as your low, and you then have a bigger 3-wave structure to come within this move to the upside, a WXY. I have to cover this because I didn't cover this on the low time frames. But that is currently your highest probability. Now on the 1 hour, in that case, to finish 4 after the 1 to 1, due to the move to the downside at the moment being a higher probability, WXY, ABC, correction, ABC, as we count it at the moment. Inside your wave B, you're going to think of a flat, preferably a regular flat or a running flat. Minimum target, the 0.9. Wave B, a zigzag or double zigzag. If we do move down here, probabilities would be higher for a WXY, a double zigzag. A, B, C to the upside, finish W. Move down in X, move up in a zigzag in wave Y. Wave X preferably does not hit the 0.7 Fibonacci taken from the start to the end of your W, which is currently sitting at 67.3K. Preferably, wave X is shallow, stays above it. If it does hit the 07, it significantly reduces probabilities for a double zigzag to the upside. Now this wave B, if we do continue to the upside locally, so in other words, right, it's about that invalidation mentioned earlier. If we do find strength and still move up, there's the potential for an ABC, which is a 5-3-5 instead of a 3-3-3. So in other words, even if we move down here, probabilities would be higher to look for support and upside in your B. In a regular flat or a running flat though, you're looking for 3 wave A, 3 wave B, 5 wave C. In a running flat, you're not going to take the low of A. Running flat is rare though. Regular flat, the low of wave C is similar to A, preferably takes the low of A, but as mentioned, there's not too much support. So I would only like to see a wick, not hit the invalidation. And that's pretty much what we're looking for. So yeah, on the daily, probability is higher for bullish scenario. On the 4-hour, currently, this is your highest probability bullish scenario. On the 1-hour time frame, that I explained what we're looking for and how probabilities change as well. Right? If you do hit 68.2K, probabilities go down for a continuation of an impulse, increases probabilities for a 3-wave structure. And then you'd be looking for a WXY, preferably here, a double zigzag, where you don't want to hit the 0.7, right, at 67.2K, 280 on my chart. And if we do move to the upside, we're either going to count an ABC inside a B, or this is going to be a wave 3 and you continue to all-time highs. We'll figure that one out once we get there. However, most commonly, your wave 4 is finishing after the 1-to-1. So preferably, you continue the range. Based on Elliott Wave probabilities, wave 4 is usually longer than 1. In other words, preferably, you're going to stick around in this range for a longer period of time and only finish your 4 after the 1-to-1, which we have now passed. Doesn't mean making a new low per se, but it preferably means making an end of the corrective structure after the 1-to-1 and not before the 1-to-1. So yeah, this is how probabilities are impacted by what price is showing locally. Yeah. And the only way to really count it differently would be to count this an ABC, but we don't really like that, right? A, B, C at the moment. It's not great probabilities compared to a WXY, which does look better. If one would count this ABC, it does give more options because an ABC can be part of more structures. A little bit of education. A wave A, B, and a wave C zigzag, right, can be part of more structures than a WXY. ABC can be part of a wave W. An ABC can be part of a wave A. Wave A of a zigzag, wave A of a triangle, right? ABC can also be part of a wave X and others like Y and that sort of stuff. But we're talking about a starting structure. So something that starts a correction. So then we talk about a W or an A, which gives you a lot more options. W is a WXY, which is a corrective sideways structure. Wave A is a flat, right? Or a triangle, A, B, C, D, E. However, at the moment, probabilities aren't high for this to be an ABC compared to a WXY. But a WXY, you can only put a WXY in a wave A to start a new structure, not of a triangle, of a flat. So it really limits the options, which is at the same time also nice. Because in wave W, right, you can't have an internal WXY inside W. So if you count this WXY, which has the highest probability, we can't count this W. We have to count this A in a flat, which then gives you the B and the C. So, yeah. Elliott Waves is fun. So, lots of talking, lots of analyzing, hopefully lots of insights. Yeah. Almost time for Formula One as well. My alarm is going off soon. I've been chatting for a while, but this is what I can only do on live streams. In live streams, I can really go deep into the waves and explain a lot more than in the short form content. It just, you know, gives you a lot more insights for the ones that like the deep dives as well. So yeah, now it's almost time for Formula One as well. So I won't put on the time for the analysis. I'll wait. I don't even know what it was. Like what, 16-minute 40 or something? Let me put it on anyway. Analysis at 16:40. Chatting and Q&A. It's going to be a short chatting and Q&A. A triangle. Yeah, there's the potential for a triangle here. Yeah, 1 second. I'm going to skim through. When? Yeah, not now because Formula One is starting soon. But yeah, we can. I'm probably I'm gonna send the caps and the T-shirt, everything at the start of next week. So by then it has to be signed, which means it's gonna be. I wait for you to come in a live stream to do it when you're watching. So it's going to be, I don't know, tomorrow is altcoin stream. Maybe at the beginning of altcoin stream or on Monday, whenever, but not today. So whenever you're there, I'll do it next time. I'm going to do it on stream. I will test it on my own shirt, by the way, that I have. So my own, just to make sure it actually works and I'm not fucking up stuff. Just quickly invalidates a diagonal. I mean, wave 1 can be a WXY in a diagonal, but that is correct, Jay. Absolutely correct. All indicators strong bullish in all the time frames. That matches probabilities. As the start of a leading expanding diagonal, but it means nothing until we get the 5th and the 2. Yeah, correct. An expanding diagonal is rare, so I fully agree. Gotta wait for it to finish. Yeah. Do you have any all-time high price target between 104K and 180K on the monthly? Happy for this wave 4 to be shorter based on news volume coming in, but no alternation. Yeah, there is the potential for it to be a low. Could also be a 1-2-1-2 locally here. Preferably your 1-2-1-2 is already finished. So this is your second 1-2 here. Instead of this being a whole 1-2, because again, this move is longer in price and time than your first wave 1. So it lowers probabilities. This is a double 1-2 if it does drop. In a triangle or a running flat. Yes, correct. Oh, my alarm goes off. 5 minutes to Monaco quali. Wave 3 on the 4 hour is so short in the current bullish scenario as an impulse. Doesn't feel good. That's also correct. It didn't even hit the 1.618. So that is why the 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, might only be a wave 1. In that case of a bigger 5. So your wave 3 is short, which I do agree with on the 4-hour time frame. Or the 4-hour. So your wave 3 didn't hit the 1.618. Yeah. Too short. Wave 3, 5. Yeah, so that's why I would then prefer to count this whole structure a wave 1 for a 5, I guess. Yes. 1 2 1 2 to the downside. Triangle. Nice capped. Cheers, Gwendizu. Yeah. I know, but we'll do more giveaways for sure. And yeah, I need to work on the website, give Jeroen info. And then maybe one day a merch store if people like some stuff, but I need to know what people like as well. But so far people enjoy the giveaways. Actually, someone it's the first time I gave away any like t-shirts and hoodies. Look, where is the picture? Here. It's so nice to see people sending a picture here of the hoodie that arrived, nicely packed, with the handwritten letter and my signature, which got absolutely fucked here, but it's still a signature nonetheless. Oh. It's nice to see stuff is arriving. Bitcoin dominance. Yeah, it could be another time, maybe tomorrow. Okay. Leclerc or Verstappen. I hope Leclerc, yes, Verstappen is Dutch. Would be nice, but he already pretty much broke every record. I think Leclerc would be cool. Like, he deserves to win. So, okay. Everyone, thanks for being here. It's time to enjoy Formula One. Make sure to watch yourself if you enjoy Formula One. It's quali, so if you don't watch any Formula One, at least watch quali in Monaco. It's very exciting. So last year was amazing with Max snapping the pole in Q3, gaining 20 hundredths on Alonso. Holy moly! Before that, it was Ocon on pole, and I don't know. It was crazy. So. Thanks for being here. Hopefully you enjoyed the long analysis. Lots of information, but the probabilities at the end summarize it, right? And yeah, I'm going to upload another video later tonight, Central European time, right? A normal update video. And then tomorrow is the altcoin stream. I might put the poll online today and then look at it tomorrow. So we don't have to do the poll live. We can just kickstart the stream. So it might be a good idea. But then I put the poll online after Formula One. So yeah, thanks everyone for being here. Gonna catch you at the next one.